created to have some fun together, sharing and singing. So, join and enjoy.
Our love for opera brings us together. Thanks for being with us in this trip.
So this is a revised audio or episode or update, if you wish, the previous one that was uploaded several weeks ago. And the reason for that is because when I first created that update, it was a plan of what were thinking of doing. But now that it's been almost 6 weeks since we kicked that off, I think that instead of just talking about the plans, we can talk about what has actually happened. Well, first things first, as of 9th of April, the place that we had been advertising in Buy Me a Coffee is no longer in use. There is a post regarding why that decision needed to be made. So we are now in Ko-fi, Ko dash Fi, K as in kick, O as in what? I think I can recall any word with O dash F as in father, I as an intelligent. KO dash FI. You look for the profile. Opera We Love Singing, just one word, no spaces, no blanks. Opera We Love Singing, and we are there. So how has this been evolving? I think it's been evolving pretty good. I think, on one hand, it gives us the opportunity of talking with lots of frequency about a good number of topics that would never be able to cover, at least not that fast, in the podcast, because the podcast has two main characteristics. One of them is that it is very static. Once you upload it and the streaming platforms take it, it's pretty much what you do and pretty much nothing changes. You can go back to the history of episodes, and good, that's what's there. That's why this media is way too static. The other characteristic of this media, the podcast, is that it is one-way communication. That's why the post was originally called a two-way communication, because the podcast is what it is. You are passively consuming the content. May agree or disagree, but you are never able to directly intercommunicate or provide your thoughts on what you actually heard. So that's what it's being solved in the profile in Kofi, because there is a good number of content that you need to pay absolutely nothing. So, and it is easier to see reviews, comments on technique, comments and suggested websites or suggested YouTube channels that have a very interesting content, reviews on some singers, uh, updates on our ever-growing community. Thank you very much, everyone. I always mention the countries, now over 70 countries. But in terms of cities, we are over 540 cities already listening to the program, which is absolutely great. Uh, and I think it has pretty much covered what the original expectations were. Of course, going back to the original question that detonated it all, and it has to do with the fact that in terms of countries, only of our listeners, only Australia, the UK, the United States, and Canada have English as their primary or mother tongue. The other 72 countries do not have it as their mother tongue, and they even use different alphabets to ours. So writing and speaking is a challenge for most of our listeners. We and I understand that, so that's why the posts are there, so that people in the coming future may start reacting, or if you feel like it, you can use Google Translator and do your best in having Google translate from your language, but at the end it is another channel where we can actually meet each other in that channel and the recent updates. We also managed to cover what was discussed in season two. In season two, we talked about Katia being able to deliver some singing lessons to whoever was interested, of course, video conferencing. And we can do that there because you can purchase it as a as a separate item in a shop. So I think in these past 6 weeks, with lots of work, things are going very well on the right direction. Eventually, people will start interacting in that site, but I think, or I would like to share with you that lots of effort and interest is put into there. Of course, more of my personality and Katya's later is coming through on those posts. You will notice how often I emphasize on the subjectivity of judgment. I personally having an engineering formation as well, I tend to discuss more in terms of science, which is curious. A singer which leans towards science because I find too many misbeliefs and too many errors in the understanding of singing. So that's why I go or I adhere or I post very often on that. Even though art is appreciation, there is a part of singing that is science, and that's what I like to make reference to very often. Provided also the many arrogant people that you can find in the opera world. I think that in all ways to bring them back to earth, you can always talk about science and show them that what they believe is mostly a belief rather than a fact. So, inviting you again to go there, jump in the posts. Uh, it is a little more challenging for the audios. It was better in the other place, but that place we needed to leave. uh, but still, the written content that is being pasted there, I think it's worth the effort. And let's keep on growing this community of opera lovers.